We do apologize for the issues. There were some internet issues on Fallen's part, but we are here. Unfortunately, I am on a formation lap at the moment, so I cannot give you the grid order. I will retire at the end of this formation lap to make sure that we are able to get the race underway. But Fallen Monkeys, can you go over the starting lineup for us if you're in the race? Yeah, for the moment. Yeah, guys, I went to Tier 3. I went from Tier 3 to Tier 1 in a day. I'm an extremely talented driver, as you can tell. That's how fast I am. I didn't even have to qualify. Exactly. Yep. I can't, unfortunately... I have to let everything know. Again, a little impromptu, ladies and gentlemen. Because of the internet failure, unfortunately. So we are going to be, I'm going to be your head commentator today, and then we'll have Fallen Monkeys as co-commentator. But glad to be with you in the commentary booth. I know it's a little unorthodox. In fact, everything's a little unorthodox right now as we're just getting set to go here. Yeah, guys, so this is the ISRL upgrade. This is the formation lap camera, guys, so you actually get to see the formation lap go on. It's actually quite incredible. So, exactly. Pubed again, really ready. We already got some contact in the back here. Some people just got disqualified on their formation laps. Thankfully, I did not cause that. I probably should be just paused the whole time, but, anyway, I wish I could retire, ladies. I would have already retired, but that is impossible on the formation lap. Can I do it yet? No, I can't. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Professionalism. Come on. This video. Oh no, I have to wait for the race to start. We are up and running. It's Sweet Crown 19 who's leading this Japanese Grand Prix ahead of Jamie, and we also have Gurman in third. Jer is in fourth with Sophian in fifth. There's a little bit of position changing here as Nick has gone up to, Knight has gone up to 11th. It's not named. His name's not Nick. It's Jeff. He's in 11th right now, just outside the top 10 behind Vito. Ooh, look at this, Billy and Carter, and that was a little bit of a dicey situation there. The deck came off worse than that situation. Now we have the Haas of Scar Logan, who was going side by side with a moment with the deck, but then the deck dropped it in the grass. Scar Logan gets ahead of him, goes into the 15th. He went a little wide there himself there, though. Carter now coming on as Tunic. And let's see if he can get close to him here. He's getting very close to Slipstream, working well. Oh, already a possibly two wide situation to 130R we go, and it's a beautiful move by Carter, and he gets into 13th. Yeah, so we are 19 already 1.3 seconds ahead of Jamie, And Gurman did lose it a little bit in turn one. He kind of dropped it on the curb there, as you can actually see Jar now has actually caught up to Gurman. Gurman's lost it a little bit behind Jamian. So the top four right now very close. Sofian a little bit further distant back, 1.5 seconds that gap back to fourth to fifth. As we can see Lewis getting very close. The Blin Machine, who was your commentator in the Tier 3 race, which I unfortunately had a unfortunate situation in. But nonetheless, let's see, there's a move back with Dan Murphy and the deck is just dropping positions like flies. He is down to 17th now, so not been the start for him as we move on to lap number 2. Oh, look at this, a move by Carter on Pubed, coming down the straight, coming towards 130R. He's lost that position, the Carter now, as Carter gets ahead of him before 130R. And it's actually interesting because Carter dropped it on the grass there, was still able to get ahead of him. Kush is getting quite close to the Pretzels and the Toros. Oh, but he drops it on the curb, and oh, wow, he just saved. No. Ooh, that was almost a disaster for Blin Machine as he caught up Kush, who had almost a terrible spin in the turn 2. Again, he dropped it on that inside curb in turn 2. That is a death curb. You're just asking to get into trouble. Knight was battling with Vito and has gone up to 10th. Gurman already with a 3-second time penalty early on in this race, which is not good for him. We'll just have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. But again, this is the Tier 1 race in Suzuka. We do apologize for the delay. But we are just trying to see. I'm trying to see if the stream has actually been able to show up. We have Knight, who has made a move on Blin Machine and is ahead of him. Blin Machine, though, in the slipstream. Let's see if he can try to make a move in the turn one, looking on the inside. Ultimately, not able to do so. I did get a confirmation from somebody else also watching. So, Knight up to 9th now. Blin Machine in 10th. Vito is behind him in 11th. Oh, he drops it on the grass there a little bit. Drivers are getting a little bit too close to the curbs in the S's, and we are talking about this in Tier 2. That's the last thing you want to be doing, as very hard to recover the car in the S's, and you can call your race almost over in many cases. We have a few positions changing here as Kush has dropped to 7th. Pretzels is, he's really slowing up, down to 15th. Maduck has retired, and that's a safety car deployed. So Maduck has crashed in this race. I'm sure it was in the S's, as Scarlogan has already passed him. Scarlo, still used to Scarlogan, I used to be. Scarlo in 17th. We have a safety car on lap number 4, as it seems to be a custom in Suzuka. Safety cars galore. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. As we see, Sweet Crown and Jamie have gone into the pits, and I believe they would have put on the medium compound tire. Now, the strategy call most of the time is medium to soft. It's a little early in the race, though, so we might see a soft, medium, soft for these runners. That is, of course, if anything happens that might affect the race even more so. But currently, your leader in this Japanese Grand Prix is actually Gurman, who did not elect to pit. He's still on his soft tires. It's only lap number 5, so it is a little early, but a few drivers electing to go onto their medium tires. We could actually get that detail up for you. So you can see it was Sweet Crown and Jamin who elected to pit onto the medium tires. So they're on brand new mediums. Now, I do have to mention something interesting, actually, that a little different than from Tier 2 is that most people, in fact, almost everybody was on the soft tires. Many more medium runners in this race, so I'm assuming many want to go medium soft. But I'm guessing we're going to see a soft, medium, soft for Sweet Crown and Jamian. Somebody's off. That's the deck in the grass. I'm not too sure what's going on if his car does he have front wing damage. He does. There is a significant amount of his front wing on the right side gone off the car, and he is having a little bit of a trip in the grass. And it's just been an unfortunate race for him. Lots of bad luck in this race, and he is down in 14th. And might even get passed by Pretzels. In fact, there he is getting passed by Pretzels, then by Dan Murphy. And I'm sure Scarlo is next to pass him. So the deck will be plumb last in this Japanese Grand Prix. Lap number 5 of 27, and it's Gurman in the lead, Lewis in second. Knight, who was in a horrible position and in many cases in this race so far, has found himself in third, which is just amazing. So Gurman in the lead. So not the first time I've unfortunately had to do a full commentary by my own, but things happen, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. That is the world of technology. But Gurman is your leader currently in this Japanese Grand Prix. You are joining us in ISRL Tier 1. This is the Japanese Grand Prix. And thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we do apologize for the issues in technologies. But we're back again, nonetheless, bringing you non-stop action around Suzuka. And we're just riding on board right now with Gurman. Gurman finding himself in the lead of this Japanese Grand Prix somehow. And then, even more surprising, actually, ISRL Knight has found himself in third on the grid after being way down in the middle of the pack. Of course, he was trying to get into Q2, so the issue for him in Q1 was that he just wanted to get into into P15 and get into Q2, but he invalidated his lap, so unfortunately he was not able to make it into the second or third, of course, qualifying sessions, but he has found himself in third, so I guess that shows qualifying doesn't matter too much in a lot of cases. So in a good position in that Red Bull. Lewis splitting the two of them. Sweet Crown 19 is 8th on the grid, and he'll be making up some work. Of course, safety car in this lap, so very late call from the safety car to come in, but nonetheless, Gurman will now be the lead car, so he sets the pace before the safety car 1 line, and he will speed up now. And let's see how Lewis got a good start on him. If he did, he looked to get a pretty decent start. Gurman had a good start as well. As I'm running on board with Knight, he got a good start as well. Blend Machine a little bit further back, didn't get quite the jump on the top 3. And you can see Lewis trying to challenge, looked around the outside there, running a little wide though onto the curb. And now Knight following behind him. Blend Machine still in 4th. 5th for Vito. That was a little bit of a glitch oversteer moment there, more so than a real one. And Pube sitting in 6th. Sweet Crown 19 is in 7th. Stunik is splitting Jamian and Sweet Crown, who both elected to pit. We're going to see if Sweet Crown can get ahead of the Ferrari, who almost has his entire back end swept him from underneath him. Pube is having problems in that Scuderia car. He might try to make a move on the hairpin. He looks on the hairpin, but ultimately a little bit too far back for a move, and he will stay in 7th at the moment. But Pube struggling right now in the red Ferrari, and now look at this, a move on the inside, and that's an easy pickings for Sweet Crown 19. He takes 7th position away from the Ferrari, and now Vito is next, and already under a second to the Renault, who is in the top 5 right now. Blinn Machine in 4th, and you can see Knight catching up to Lewis. Lewis has actually dropped outside of a second from Gurman, so this is not helping his cause whatsoever, as Gurman can more freely run away with it. Now, we do have to mention, Gurman will stop before these drivers behind him, as he is on that soft compound tire, which the softs tend to last about 10 laps here in Suzuka. After that, that's a pretty steep drop-off, so he will look to pit around lap number 10, maybe lap 11 if he can push it that far, but realistically speaking, lap 10, around then, he should be pitting, and we'll see what tire he puts on. Presume he will put on the mediums and go till the end of the race. And we're looking with ISRL Knight in 3rd, Lewis ahead of him. Oh, there's a yellow flag, sector 1. That looks to be, oh, that is the deck again. He's had a collision with Pretzels. Pretzels still has his front wing. The deck seems to be okay damage-wise. I can't see the front end of his car. There's a big crash. There looks like there's an issue. Pube's had a crash, and he's spun around. And Scarlove is ahead of him. The deck gets ahead of him. I don't know what happened with Pube. It looked like he might have made contact with somebody, but he spins the car around, and I don't know if there's damage on that front wing. There is significant damage on the left side, and you cannot see any of the black part of that front wing anymore. Oh, look at this. Dan Murphy got a 3-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags. That's a very rare penalty to get in the game. So that is unfortunate for him. I think he might even try to, most of the time, I would just try to get that appealed, because very interesting to get that kind of penalty. He must have been going ludicrously fast and a yellow flag, but even then, I've never really slowed up in yellows before, so I don't really know when the game gives those out. But DRS is now enabled. Again, under full safety car conditions, the DRS will have to be reactivated after another 3 laps. That is not the case when we have a VSC. Blinn Machine, though, sitting in 4. Oh, there's a move there at the bottom. Jar has gone ahead of Vito, so the 2 Renaults are right next to each other, and Jar has gone ahead of Vito and is now moving towards Jamian, who is behind Sweet Crown 19. Sweet Crown 19 now behind Blinn Machine, and he is getting right back up into him, and now Blinn Machine struggling a little bit uphill, as Sweet Crown 19 not really going to be an overtaking around here per se, but maybe a little bit further on, maybe even to the hairpin if he can get a good run up to him there. But not the best traction out of that turn, so he will stay behind him for the moment coming into the hairpin. Sweet Crown 19 is in 5th, Jamian in 6th. There's another move down to positions. That's so still side by side. Look at this, getting very dicey here. There's a McLaren. I'm going to run on board of Kush. Now Kush is going on the inside of Estunik, and Estunik losing 2 positions in 2 corners. That's not been the start he would like in this safety car restart. Oh, he goes too wide and then loses even more time to those drivers in front of him, and he's down to 12th. Pretzels has now apparently made a move on the deck. The deck is still struggling. He's on that hard compound tire, which is not the tire I'd want to be on. Carter as well is on that hard compound tire. So is Scarlo. Now, going on talking about the hards, very hard, that's not a pun, to get into operating temperature window. To heat up the tires is extremely difficult, and you have to keep them in there, as you can see. Sofian, and look at this, the McLaren going side by side in the turn 1, and look at this amazing battling right now between Sofian and Kush, as they're still side by side. Finally, the Ferrari cuts ahead of him, and Sofian up to 10th, Kush down to 11th. The problem is that around Suzuka, there's not too many opportunities to make your overtakes. Really, the start-finish line, maybe in the turn 1, the hairpin as well is a possibility, but overall, there's not too many opportunities into 130R as well if you get the run. But I think the problem is that Blinn Machine also has Knight for Slipstream as well, so it's not helping Sweet Crown whatsoever, especially with DRS, just really not able to gain the advantage he'd like to. In fact, Blinn is actually gaining on Knight, as Knight has dropped back quite severely from Lewis. About 1.8 seconds that gap now. Sweet Crown 19, though, got a much better run coming towards 130R now as he right on board of him, but still not able to gain the time due to the slipstream on Knight. Knight is really the big sitting duck here. He doesn't have DRS. He doesn't even have a driver in front of him. He's really going to be struggling later on in this race. As you can see him coming into the chicane, a big train of cars behind him. That's Blinn and Sweet Crown. But Blinn did not get a great exit out of the final chicane, and we can see Sweet Crown 19, he's got DRS, but so does Blinn Machine, and now Blinn Machine will make a move on the inside on Knight, and he is going to make the move just about. Knight's trying to hang it around the outside. They're still side by side, just barely keeps it on track, and Blinn Machine with a fantastic move on him. Now Sweet Crown 19 is going to try to get involved with Knight, and this is a great battle right now for third in this race, and Sweet Crown 19 already over the back of Knight. Now remember there, look at this, side by side there for a second, and that's not a normal overtaking opportunity, but he kept it on track nonetheless, and you can see Jamie is now getting involved as well, and Knight must be absolutely scared off his pants with those two drivers behind him, and he is under a lot of pressure right now to keep him behind. He's got Blinn Machine ahead of him, so a little bit of slipstream help, but you can see Blinn Machine's actually moving away a little bit, about 0.7 of a second separating the two drivers, so he is losing time to that Alfa Romeo, and that's not going to help him at all. So is German. In fact, will German pit this lap? So I mentioned there, German would think about maybe pitting, as we can see Sweet Crown getting so close. He might even make a move into the chicane, in fact. No, a little bit too far back. Where does German? German does not pit, so he will go further on into this race. Blinn Machine as well does not make his pit stop. As you can see, Knight does have DRS, but not a lot of it. Sweet Crown 19 is going to pretty much get him right here, I think. Coming into turn number 1, who breaks latest? It's normally Sweet Crown. Oh, but Sweet Crown loses it in turn number 1, and Knight stays ahead of him. Sweet Crown had a little bit of a moment there into turn 1. I don't know if there was contact. I didn't see it because they gave me an awful camera angle on the stream. But nonetheless, Sweet Crown 19 did make a move on the inside, but ultimately it was up to no avail, and Knight stays ahead of him. Now, the big problem here for Sweet Crown is that the longer he stays behind Knight with those medium tires, yeah, they are newer, but that dirty air is going to kill his tire life. So we're going to have to see if he can't get ahead of him in a number of laps. This might not be Sweet Crown 19's day, as he has been absolutely dominant in this season. Can we see a new winner here in ISRL? As that was almost a mistake on my part. I almost got sued severely, but nonetheless, ISRL Knight is leading this Japanese. He's not leading this Japanese Grand Prix. I'm just confused because I was not expecting to commentate, ladies and gentlemen. But Sweet Crown 19 in the slipstream, trying to get to Knight here. The two Red Bull drivers, first and fourth. Now does German pit this lap? No, he's staying out. He does. Blend into the pits. Yellow flag sector 2. Somebody's had it off somewhere. I'm not too sure who it was. It looks like it might have been the deck again. And look at this, a move by Sweet Crown 19 around the outside. Easy move there, and he got ahead of Knight right there, and that was about as easy as it gets. Blinn Machine is down to 13th. I don't know if they can hear you yet. I don't know if there's any feedback from there. I'd like to ask you for your opinion on the race so far. It's been pretty chaotic. Well, you heard it here first from me, guys. Dan Murphy has a good recovery drive from I'm gonna be transcribing everything he says here, so the stream will be twice as long. As you can see, I'm going to ride on board of Jer right here, sitting in 6th, a little bit further out of the pack. Sweet Crown 19 is Jamie, and oh, look at this, a move into the hairpin, and still side by side with Knight. Really trying to make a move there, but ultimately was not going to work. Just a bit too far back. I'm shocked that Gurman has not made his pit stop yet. I think the problem is, though, is he's going to be really far back here, and I think this has been a bit of a blunder on his part because he is going to lose a huge amount of time in the pit lane, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get it back. That was earlier. He speeded in the pit lane. That was an earlier incident. Riding aboard of Jair, 6th behind Knight, as he's dropped back quite a bit from Jamie, and as Jamie tries to get close to Sweet Crown 19. 1.7 seconds is that gap to third. Your top three starting to really run away with this race. Now, should Gurman, now I hope and Gurman, no, still not pitting, and it's going to be 14 laps now on those soft tires, and I really have to question that decision here because Lewis is going to be much faster than him. A 14 old medium tire much faster than a 14-year-old, 14 lap old soft year-old. Oh my! Oh, look at this. There's a few positions dropping here. Jair is battling with Knight and Sofian with Kush. So those two drivers battling once again on track. Kush is ahead of Sofian. So there's a big move down on the start-finish line. And, you know, oh, no. We can actually, you see here now, a little bit of teammates now close enough. Lewis and Sweet Crown. Now, Sweet Crown a little bit more in the battle for the championship right now in tier number 1, so I don't know if we're going to see any team tactics here, or we're going to be seeing Lewis battling quite hard with Sweet Crown. We'll have to wait and see here as they're coming onto the straight. Lewis quite far behind Gurman, but he is gaining on Gurman, so that's the key thing here. We'll see. Oh, look at this. Sweet Crown already making the move, and Sweet Crown gets ahead of Lewis. So I think that was a, like, oh, you know, I think that was definitely more of a teammate decision more so than anything. As this, finally Gurman goes into pits. He almost looked like he wanted to fake it there for a second, but he does finally pit. Now, how many positions does Gurman lose in the pit lane? I suspect it's going to be quite a lot. Kush is a little bit further back, but he is not 8th. Might go to, no, he's not going to go to 9th, I don't think. He might just get ahead of Vito. So Carter is going to get ahead of him, though. And now, yes, Stunik gets ahead of him, too. So 10th position, just what I thought about. He would be out in 10th. That has not been a good, again, I didn't really agree staying that long out on the soft tires, and it has not worked out for him. He's in 10th, and really, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity to overtake. I know he has a driver ahead of him with some pretty old tires, but we're going to see. I know Lewis might be doing a, as you can see the car squirming a little bit. He might be doing a soft to the end strategy, which I usually recommend pitting around between lap 18 and lap 20 if you're going to go onto the softs. We'll have to wait and see, but Sweet Crown 19 is your leader in this Japanese Grand Prix. It's actually a 1-2 Williams at the moment, and if you've never watched a sim race before and you're joining us, then you're new. You might be a little shocked with the Williams 1-2 at the moment, while it is on equal cars. So all the cars are equal. There are slight differences in terms of chassis that will make the cars handle slightly different, but overall the car's performance is equal. So really it's up to personal preference. As you can see, Sweet Crown 19 pushing that Williams to a victory right now, possibly. And just like that, Sweet Crown 19, you think he's out of it, and he just makes a absolutely fantastic recovery, and he's currently in the lead of this race with Lewis in second. Look at this. Boy Machine with a move on Stunek, losing some positions here, and runs up on the curb a little bit there. And let's see if he can get back. So again, I mean, to be fair, Gurman is going to have a lot of momentum on here. He's on those brand new medium tires, and he's got drivers ahead of him with, like Carter with 12 old hards. And I'm actually surprised Carter's done so well on those hard tires. He's in 8th right now, but I have a feeling Gurman very quickly is gaining on him. So I have a feeling this is going to be an inevitable move into 8th position for Gurman. He just has to find the right opportunity to make it happen. But just everything about the hard tires is at a disadvantage. You get bad traction, you get bad grip, you just don't get the entry speeds. Just about everything on those hard tires is more difficult. And you can see Carter really struggling to hit the apexes and to keep it on the line. And Gurman surely will be making a very easy move coming into 130R in the slipstream. They're going to go side by side, and the move is made well before they make the turn. And that is 8th position for Gurman. Carter might be looking. You can see Kush has gone ahead of Knight, who goes into the pits, and that's the soft. There it is. That's the first runner into the softs, and you can see lap number 18. He is on the soft compound tire, and he's going to go to the end of this race. So he's going to be very, very quick. We're going to see if he can make up a lot of positions. I mean, to be fair, he didn't get in the Q2, so really this position for Knight is quite good for him, actually, if you really think about it. Even if he doesn't finish in the points, but I think he will, especially ahead of Dan Murphy, who is on those medium tires. He's on the soft tires, so even if they're new mediums, he should get ahead of him pretty easily. Carter, though, is definitely struggling, and I don't know if Carter's going to be able to do it till the end. I know he wants to do it till the end, and I know what he's betting on. He's betting on all the drivers ahead of him pitting, which is not a wrong thing to think, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. There's the yellow flag. There's a Renault. It's a Renault who was spun. It's Vito. Vito's had an incident out of the S's, and he's currently 13th. He's on soft tires. They're brand new soft tires, but they're already going to be cooked, and they've just lost a few laps of life on them after that little issue out of the S's for him. Look at... Ooh, they've spun! There's a spin, and Lewis has been spun round by Jamie, and but he came back on track, and Kush almost hit the back of him. That was not the most safest of rejoins, and now Lewis is into the pits, and it looked like what it looked like from my end. Again, it wasn't the greatest of view. Was that Jamie may have came across Lewis a little bit, because as you can see, Lewis spun around in the opposite direction of the turn. But it might have just been Lewis gassed it too much, so I can't really tell. I'm not going to make any accusations here. Again, it was not a great... We're currently on lap 19 of 27. I'm riding on board of Knight, who's trying to make it past Dan Murphy. This is really going to ruin his race if he can't make it past this Racing Point, who is going to go till the end on this race. These tires will go till the end. Now, again, what's imperative for Knight is that, yeah, he's on faster tires, but these faster tires wear off much quicker, and he needs to get past him ASAP if he wants to salvage this race on those soft tires. As Pretzels has had an issue, and Vito has gone ahead of him. So Pretzels and Stunek, 13th and 14th on the grid. So this has not been a great race for the Toro Rosso drivers, to say the least. As you can see, most of the drivers ahead have pretty big gaps. I'm riding on board of Knight right now, getting really close to 130R. Into 130R! Does he make the move? Yes, he does! Absolutely astounding move in the 130R. by Knight on the inside of Dan Murphy. And if you want to talk about getting ahead of him forcefully, that's how you do it. An amazing run. In fact, he gets the fastest lap of the race with that overtake. Dan Murphy kind of had to go off track there. Again, any kind of overtake in the 130R, you get a little bit frightened as what's going to happen. But wow, what a move by him into 130R, and Knight is up to 9th on the grid. Absolutely astounding. But he was a little squirmy out of the S's there, so that could have been a disaster for him, and we'll see if he can get further up the grid. Next is going to be Blinn Machine, 1.8 seconds ahead. Actually, sorry, 3.6 seconds ahead. It's 1.8 seconds back from Carter, who's on 15 old hards, 15 lap old hards, and he's going to go to the end. But he is, as you can really see there, just from the onboard and through the exits, he's really struggling, sliding all over the place, just absolutely having no fun of a time on those tires, and he is having a really tough time of it here. And again, we have another driver, actually, it's the Deck, who equally has had the same kind of struggles in this race. So I think you're starting to see why those hard tires may not be the tire you want to be on in this race, as they really have a hard time getting into operating temperature. Dan Murphy gets another 5-second penalty in this race, and that might drop him behind Lewis. Lewis is sitting in 11th now. I guess a consolation prize. He'd at least like to get into the top 10, but obviously very disappointing to be outside of win contention here. Dan Murphy is still keeping it up with Knight. Knight really not able to... He's definitely a little bit faster on those soft tires, but he's definitely not into amazing operation window. And he hasn't really been able to catch up too much to Blinn Machine. Only about 0.2 of a second since I checked last time, in fact. As they're on lap 21 of 27. Your leader in this Japanese Grand Prix. What do you know? It's Sweet Crown 19. He is again putting in more dominance in this league, and you can just see it happen right now. 4.2 seconds is the gap between first and second. Jamian in second. He is doing an absolutely clinic right now in this Japanese Grand Prix. Really nothing that I can see that's going to change things here in this race. I think Sweet Crown might be running away with it a little bit. Jamian a little bit too far back really to ever make a run on him. 17 lap old mediums. You have to give it to the drivers there to last that long on those tires is absolutely astounding. I don't suspect anybody's going to stop for softs, but you never know. Dan Murphy gets another 3-second time penalty. Dan Murphy's really picking up the penalties, and that is not going to help his race at all, as he's definitely going to drop behind Lewis at this point in the race. But he's still keeping up relatively with Knight, though now it's become 0.8 of a second. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for watching us. I know that the stream is a little impromptu. In fact, I didn't even have the YouTube account on my PS4 at the time of knowing I had to come on, so it was a rush to get on here, but I'm glad that I'm able to commentate this Tier 1 race for you with Fallen Monkeys, even if we're not able to hear him on the stream, though he is doing a great job, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you that nonetheless, as lap 24 will begin, and Sweet Crown 19, sorry, it's lap 23. I was riding on board with Jamie, and sorry, lap 23 has begun, and he is leading this race, and it is 4.4 seconds, just about that gap between first and second. Jar is in third, just about where we'd expect him to be, inside that top three, putting on a show as well. Kush is in fourth, Sophian in fifth, and unfortunately for me, I have to replay my Chelsea match, which I was in the middle of. But we will forget about that nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. It's ISRL Esports. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new here. If you are a regular watcher, make sure to give a hi in the chat. We like to see all of you here. And thank you for joining us. 16 of you at the moment live watching this Tier 1 race in Japan. And I'm so happy that I'm able to commentate here in ISRL Esports for the first time. Great to be in a new league, a really amazing league, in fact, as I've been able to experience in the past few days and be able to compete in it as well, as we're watching amazing Tier 1 action going on right now, and Sweet Crown 19 is leading that charge. As Stunik gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Pubed is behind him by about 10 seconds. There's a yellow flag, Sector 1. That is Scarlo, who's had a spin. And does he have damage on the... Yep, that is a pretty flat left front wing on his car. And that is not good for him. I have to wait and see. He has to get past him first. We'll wait and see if that is going to be the case. Sofian is a little bit further back from Kush, so I have a feeling Gurman is going to be making just this position, but they get into the top 5 regardless. In fact, he's getting an amazing run and may make it into the hairpin. Going to move around the outside of the Ferrari, but he just doesn't get the move just yet. Gets the better traction, though. Again, taking the wider line, you're able to carry more speed into that hairpin. Just slots ahead of Sofian. That was oh so close. Sofian will make a challenge, I think, on the inside, but Gurman gets it covered, and he will get into 5th position. An amazing little battle right there near the end of the race. You can see Dan Murphy is still keeping up with Knight. Scarlo has retired from this race. I believe that's in the pit. Yes, it is in the pit lane, as Sweet Crown 19 has begun lap number 25. There are 3 laps to go in this race. Jamie in 4.3 seconds behind, a little bit too far back, I think, for a challenge here in this race, but there's a few battles down the field. Actually, you can see 10th through 8th in this race are all extremely close to one another, and this is not... Oh, look at this. Knight so close to Blend Machine, and now a move on the inside into the final turn. He's got DRS. Here he comes at the drag race into turn number 1. Can he make a move on the inside? He's going to look to make a move on the inside, but Blin covers him off, and this is on the edge racing here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Knight behind Dan Murphy, and Blin Machine ahead of Knight. Dan Murphy behind him, but they're also close together, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, Gurman has made the move on Sofian again, so they were battling a little bit. Sofian was still challenging him a little bit there, surprisingly enough. Even with 20 old medium tires, Carter is being pressurized right now by Sofian. Sorry, Blend Machine, I believe. Sorry. Yeah, Blend Machine challenging him. Oh, look at this on the inside. It's going to be Knight on the inside of Blend Machine. Is he going to get the move? It's better traction on the outside. Still on the outside. Now on the inside is going to be Blend Machine. And Knight just keeping his front wing there. Not able to make the move happen. And he stays in 9th at the moment. 8th for Blend Machine. Carter in 7th. The action is hard to follow, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Murphy now trying to get involved. Here comes Knight, still in the slipstream. He's going to try to go side by side again through 130 yard. This is going to be outrageous. They make contact, and it's a spin, and it's Knight who comes off worst. And you got to say, ladies and gentlemen, here's the problem with that. With 130R, you take the risk with a move like that, and it just didn't work out too well. And you have to say, I think Blend Machine in that situation, he just tried to make it maybe a little bit too close. He did kind of technically turn in on him, but you have to say making it for 130R is going to be a very difficult move to make. And unfortunately, Knight now far outside of the points contention. Lewis in 10th has now gone ahead of him as well, and that is unfortunate for his race. He was in the points after a good recovery drive, now down to 11th in this Japanese Grand Prix. But we're still following on in this midfield battle. Carter under pressure from Blend Machine. 21 old hards. If Carter can stay in even in 7th or maybe even get in 8th, that's still a fantastic drive on those hard compound tires. Running on board of Sweet Crown 19 as he's coming up to the back of a Stunik. Well, Blinn was a little bit less nice into 130R than Dan Murphy was. Dan Murphy gave him quite a lot of room. Look at this, a move by Sofian on Gurman on the outside into turn 1. That could have been dangerous but amazing, and still trying to make the move regardless. We're on the final lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. There's your man Sweet Crown 19 leading the race. Jamian in 2nd, Jer is in 3rd, and Kush is in 4th, Gurman in 5th. There's still a battle going on down the field here as well. As you can see, Carter fighting for his life to keep these two drivers hungry for that 7th position behind him. 4th position for Kush. He needs to get a good run here on Jer on this final run. I don't think he's gone. I think he's too far back. Pube has made a move on Pretzels. Pretzels into the wall. Pube got ahead of him. Pretzels must have had a spin somewhere. Down in 14th. Sweet Crown 19 is going to win, though, the Japanese Grand Prix. And going to win it in, again, dominant fashion. Jamian will finish in 2nd. Jer across the line will just finish ahead of Kush. And no penalties change here. Gurman is going to come across the line and is going to come home in 5th position. No. Sofian jumped Gurman and gets into the top 5. Carter, what a race. Oh, but he gets overtaken by Blinn with penalties. But even with 8th position, 23 lap old hard tires. What amazing tire management from him. You got to give it to him on those hard tires to make a performance like that. But Sweet Crown 19 has won the Japanese Grand Prix. It's another win for Sweet Crown 19. The championship well and truly in his hands. As we move towards round number 5 next week, it's in Monza. What a race. As I'm just waiting for a few of the other drivers to come across the line and finish their races. We'll get in some post-lap, some post-race interviews with Sweet Crown, Jamian, and hopefully Jer as well. But there's Sweet Crown 19, your winner in Japan. A track which has crowned so many champions before, and Sweet Crown showing right now why he is a deserving champion to be soon. Round number 4 goes to the man, Sweet Crown 19 in the Williams. It's a mostly Mercedes podium right there. As let's get the boys into the party, and we can give a little bit of an interview in the race. As I'll go over the lineup right now, though, it's Sweet Crown in 1st, Jamian in 2nd, 3rd for Jer, Kush in 4th, 5th for Sofian, Gurman in 6th, Blinn Machine in 7th, ISRL Carter in 8th, 9th for Dan Murphy, 10th for ISRL Knight, a great recovery drive from him, ISRL Vito in 11th, ISRL Lewis in 12th, a bad result for him after that spin, Pubed in 13th, ISRL Pretzels in 14th, ISRL Estunik in 15th, the deck is in 16th, and the 2 DNFs of Scarlo LPC and Maduk in 18th, and there's this terrible driver at the bottom of the racetrack. I don't know what he's doing there. let's get into the party, the drivers that we want in the party. And we can invite them and get a little bit of a post-race interview going. I have to go way down to the bottom of the field because I do not have a lot of these drivers. Oh, you know what? Can you, Fawn, can you suggest them in the party? Just be easier. Oh no, is it? It's not. It's not private. They just haven't joined. But it's okay. Just better if they get the invite. Try to get into the yeah, if you want to send the invites, then yeah. Well, let's get Sweet Crown in. Well, yeah, get Sweet Crown, Jamin, and Sharon. You can also get Lewis in as well. Post-race interview is coming in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. We're just inviting all of the drivers that we'd like to talk to. Hopefully we can speak to some of them. Yep, Jamie and Jer, and then I'd like to get Lewis in as well. We can talk to him about that last lap, one of those spins at the lap with Jamie and actually. Have they all been sent out? Just trying to get everybody into the party. We can hopefully. Oh, I don't have them on my. I have Jer on my friends list. I just couldn't find everybody. I need to delete some people is what I need to do. If we can't get everybody in, ladies and gentlemen, if we can't get the drivers in, then we will just be ending. We can, so we'll get Knight in as well. Let's get to the. Well, our first driver we have in here is ISRL Knight, and you're the only person currently in the lobby right now, so we'll get started right away with the post-race interviews. Knight, it was a good recovery drive after getting knocked out in Q1, but there was a little bit of an incident in 130R with Blend Machine. Talk us through that. What was your reaction during and after that event?
Yeah, I mean, getting knocked out of Q1, I didn't want to start at the back. The S's are usually chaos, and it paid off. I was back in the top 6 by the safety car. But then, pit for my soft tires. I had a lot of pace at the end, caught up to Dan Murphy, and then he kind of just DRS rode me all the way up until Blinn and Carter. They were battling, so I caught up pretty quick. And me and Blinn tried to go through 130R side by side, and it didn't work. We tapped wheels, and the rear end kind of stepped out. I saved it out of the wall mostly. I just picked up a tiny bit of wing damage, but I don't know. I think I needed a bit more room on the inside there.
It definitely looked like, so I mean, from the first one of Dan Murphy, it looked like a little bit of a better, Dan Murphy gave you a lot of room in that one. I think Blinn maybe just raced you a little bit too difficult, but it is 130R, and you know when you take that risk into the turn there that it sometimes pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Unfortunately, in that incident, unable to pay off, but still, nonetheless, able to get into P10 in the race, so still a great recovery drive to at least get some points on the board.
Yeah, fastest lap as well, I think. I'm pretty sure I ended with that. So
you did get fastest lap.
Yeah, at least I get 2 points here. This is going to help a little bit. It's a shame because I could have had a solid 8-9 points there if I feel like I could have gone past Carter in the last lap. I definitely had the pace for it, but it happens. It's 130R. It's pretty unpredictable, and I think I used up all my luck getting through there with Dan, so there wasn't much left when me and Blinn tried to do the same.
Well, I'm not getting a lot of other drivers joining in at the moment into the party, so I believe, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be ending the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is IGKX. It's been a pleasure commentating this Tier 1 Japanese Grand Prix in ISRL Esports. Again, last minute, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can forgive me if I made a few errors on the stream. But nonetheless, great to have Fallen Monkeys in the commentary booth. Even if we couldn't hear him, he did a great job, even when you can't hear him, which is showing his skills. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you are new to ISRL Esports. And make sure to join us next week for the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. It's going to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. My name is IGKX. I was joined by Fallen Monkeys in the commentary booth. Thank you so much for joining us, and have yourselves a wonderful night.